This show is sponsored by Sims Business Systems, Arizona's #1 family-owned technology boutique, serving your copy, print, IT, and teleconferencing needs since 1978. Smartify your business with Sims.
Welcome to Exposing Entrepreneur Secrets. This is Sean Sims Bradford, your host, and this is the show where we get to know the hearts, minds, and souls of the business owners so you can get a peek into their success. I am so excited today to have JJ Levenske on the show. JJ specializes in seeing the end at the beginning, and he monetizes the connection of dots in a value proposition in regards to anything construction related. JJ, welcome.
Thank you.
I am so thrilled to have you, and we haven't had anybody that specializes in construction yet, as we are chatting about, and I am so honored that you're going to fill in that gap and really inspire people that are not only entrepreneurs, but also entrepreneurs in this line of business. So I want to start, how did you, you've been an expert in construction and construction management for 25 years. How did you get interested in the field that you're in?
Oh, going back to a kid, Legos.
Oh, I like this.
Tangible, building things. Mm-hmm. It just never got away from me. I looked at all sorts of different industries. My mind was naturally gravitated towards other things as I saw my peers and friends and, should I be a doctor, should I be a lawyer, all those things. And I ended up going to college started off thinking I wanted to be an architect. That didn't work out. So then went down the construction management line, and then everything else just flowed after that. But every time I tried to exit the industry to be more entrepreneurial, I always came back because I needed that tangible fix. And now I look back 25, 30 years later and said, I don't regret a minute of it.
And I noticed that, when I was researching you, that you have a degree in construction. So, you knew that you wanted construction, when you went into school, which I just think is really cool. You knew that you wanted that.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was lucky that I had mentors at a very early age. Even when I say mentors, I mean even kids, because we were all kids at that age, 18, 19, 20, that had broken down that paradigm early for me. Again, back in those days, in the late 80s, it was you're either an engineer, you're an architect. Construction management was, it was considered downplayed because, again, the trade, which we all know now, is an encumbrance and a lack of skilled labor in our marketplace. And, look at kids that have welding degrees, and those aren't 4-year degrees, or a pipe fitter or anything. Our lack of skilled labor, they're worth more than a 4-year degree right now. Yeah. And so it's come full circle. That's
a really, really good point. And you're now the president of Bleuwave, and
Correct.
Bleuwave is a big construction company. And
well, not big.
No.
We're actually small. We're a very niche type contracting service. Luckily, I partnered with 2 partners about 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. We started off in the charter school space.
Yes.
Again, offering that holistic solution. In other words, we weren't just the general contractor. That was just one of the 3 barometers, if you will, that we wanted to have for the marketplace. So just to set a tone or kind of put it in context, Arizona, as most people know, is very rich in the charter school space because of everything that's out there. Call it geopolitical, call it whatever you want, but it is. So when you look back at the track record and the tenure of the charter school space, it's typically people that have a passion, a dream, and they want to do something. They know they want to break away and do their own school. Okay.
Yes.
Well, they're not experts at real estate, entitlement, construction, leasing, capital, blah, blah, blah. They might be great educators, but they don't know how that goes. And as we've seen, there's a lot of entities here based in Arizona that have grown it into the big boys. And, I'm not going to mention the names on this podcast, but they're out there.
Yes.
We have, half a dozen big boys in Arizona, if you will, big boys and girls, that have taken it, regionally, nationally. That isn't who I'm talking about. Where we could effectuate change and offer value was to those smaller 1, 2, 3s, maybe even 4, 5, 6, where they've replicated their charter. They have a couple thousand kids, and they need help. They have very sophisticated and smart people in their back office, but again, how do they take down land? How do they build a building? How do they do the entitlement work? How do they put their capital stack together? And then on the flip side, how do they preserve those assets moving forward? Because there is no safety net in that industry. You don't go back to the taxpayer and go, hey, our building failed. Can you put out a referendum or a levy to raise $4 million for us? No, it doesn't work that way, without getting it. So anyway, we went down that path, and then we actually had I wouldn't call it failure, but we had a reckoning, if you will, a couple years ago, and that's when we changed our name to Bleuwave, because at that time we were actually a school builder, and it was kind of myopic. You know, we were only offering that holistic solution within the school space.
Okay.
We changed it to Bleuwave based on Blue Ocean Strategy, a very popular book. And in essence, I give my meaning to it is, how do you give 3 or 4 things and monetize it in the same way that you would be 2 or 3? So again, I'm not calling it the BOGO, the buy one get one free, but again, how can we effectuate change for our client in that value proposition of they want 3 things, we give it for the same fee that we normally would for 2.
Oh, wow.
So in essence, that is our DNA, and that's how this entrepreneurial strain, if you will, interplays and connects to the construction space. So, kudos to all of my peers and mentors and our friendly competitors who are, they might do $100 million, they might do $500 million in construction revenue, but they're not doing some of the things that we're doing because we're small, we're nimble, we're more entrepreneurial. We're able to look at all those dots when you read the intro. How do we connect those in a meaningful fashion to those people that are looking for it? So in other words, let me give you a perspective. We typically will get a client that, again, it's not that they're not happy with their, what I call the big boy contractor within the valley, but they're looking for something else. They have a unique problem or they have a unique opportunity where how do I describe it? The brotherhood or the fraternal order of construction really hasn't changed in 40 years,
That's
50
a good
years,
point.
60 years. And, they're heavy capital. It's a lot of money-driven things. They have 500 employees. You're not going to turn the Titanic on a dime. We can come in with the same level of sophistication. We know the construction. That's actually the easy part. But again, how do you help and then monetize in a fair and market-driven how would you describe it? Margin.
Yes.
To give those people what they want. Well, because again, we're small, we're nimble, and we're entrepreneurial, we can give those solutions. Even if we can't, a lot of times we're paying it forward only to get a recurring revenue phone call or hit later. So some of our best yeses are nos.
That is a really good point.
And so it's just when you get old like me, just under 50, and you've been in the construction.
You wear that well, by the way.
When you have been in the construction industry as long as I have, it's not an easy industry. I mean, you get beat up and you get beat up hard. But I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my life. And, luckily, again, I have 2 partners that are, and a wonderful team around me that they've bought into this. And we truly love just seeing if we can help people. Now, in that regard, we still dabble quite heavily in the school space, but now we're going into other verticals. And for those of you listening, verticals are just what they sound like. What are market segments within the construction space? And so every time we turn around, someone else goes, "Hey, that's kind of unique what you're doing. How do you do it?" And so we just educate and explain. What I enjoy about it is I don't feel like we're selling anything. If anything, we're not taking orders either. It's you just listen and go, "Oh, well, I think I can provide a solution for that. What do you think about this?" And pretty soon it's spaghetti noodles on the wall, and the next thing you know, you've culminated a deal, and you've brought 3 other like-minded people to the table. And they're like, "Why can't other people think like this?" And I truly believe it's just that, and maybe this is overstated, there's just a lot of egos out there in the marketplace, and we all have them. So it's just staying humble, building good team members, and then buying into that culture of, hey, can we just be the advocates of change? So we've kind of taken a position of, instead of trying to build the biggest construction-related company, how do we build one of the best? And we're excited because we think there's emerging markets within this value proposition of how you connect the dots. Like when we brainstorm, it's freaky. It's fun. I mean, it feels like a Google-type environment in some little podunk Chandler office that we have.
Yeah, so I want to visualize this. How are you and your team brainstorming together? What does this look like?
Well, I'd love to think it's around a keg or 20 margaritas, but it's not.
All right, I'll send that picture out of that.
Or chips and salsa. No, it's just, it's amazing because it's like anything. You drop, it's like the trickle of water over the waterfall, and then all of a sudden it cascades. So it starts with me. I'm crazy. And so usually I'll just throw up an idea, and then pretty soon everyone's chiming in. Oh, yeah, what about this? Oh, yeah, what about that? I just had this occur yesterday, and when we got done, I just felt invigorated. I mean, I elevated off my chair to listen to other people talk about. I throw out a crazy idea, and then all of a sudden it just goes gangbusters. Now, like anything, being an entrepreneur, you throw out 100 good ideas to distill it down to 10 that are viable, and one goes to market.
Good point.
You know, and again, it all has to relate back to capital, investors, ROI, IRR, all those things. And I think, you know, I've listened to some of your other podcasts, and that I think a great one was, what is it, Goodman's? Is that Alex?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know how he described how at the end of the day, Goodman still has to make money.
Exactly.
But what they do afterwards or during that process is what differentiates them in the entrepreneurial and business market. In other words, how do they effectuate change while they're doing their day in and day out routines? I'm not saying we're the same, but we're very similar. It just so happens that we play in the construction space. So, you know, everyone asks me, well, what drives you, JJ? Why do you keep doing these things, and why do you look at these things on the periphery or the ancillary markets? And I say, I just don't want that one day when it's my eulogy and the epitaph that's out there. I want it to be, hey, he at least tried to change the industry. And it's not about ego. It's just that I feel I was given some God-given talents and was able to surround myself with wonderful people and attract wonderful people because of the culture.
Yes.
And then again, how do you transcend that into an exponential return in your society? And so that's really what we're trying to do.
And I mean, it was such an impressive, and I think this is where I thought like big, stat that I read on you that you have almost $1 billion under your belt of construction-related services, of experiences, which is just impressive. And I love how you have taken that into Bleuwave, and you're not really just doing construction. You're solving problems. You're saying, okay, here's the budget, and this is the best possible way we can do it. And you're taking people that are so passionate that might want to start like a restaurant or a school. And of course, they have expertise in education, but they don't in, like you pointed out initially, in land, in construction and building. So for you to be that trusted partner is beyond invaluable. And so anyways, I just wanted to kind of summarize that. And then I wanted to go down this road with you. You kind of hit it on the head. It's kind of just from where I'm sitting is really maybe the consumer.
Right.
What I see is it is a very saturated market in construction. But then when you're trying to work with people, sometimes it can seem hard to get somebody. Sometimes it seems way overpriced. Sometimes there's not a lot of communication. So I love that you're trying to make some changes in that and really change your industry. Like, what's kind of your vision of your industry?
Well, okay, so great question, and I could talk for hours on this alone, but just I think if I give one example, I think it'll set a good tone for it.
Perfect.
It goes back to what we were talking about is a lot of my peers, and they're right, but I think they're missing the boat, and that is this. We do need more skilled people. But I look at all this false energy and false hope of going back to the grade schools, high schools, and that we're going to get all these people to become HVAC people and welders and all that kind of stuff. I think that's missing it. Your will to change someone, that you can only control what you can control.
Right.
You're not going to move society 180 degrees to will it to happen. It's just not going to happen. But my son is a senior in high school. Mm-hmm. I would love to him to be more hands-on. And by all means, just because he's my son, he probably is more than the average kid his age.
Right.
But I look at him to where I was. I mean, he couldn't change the oil in a car if his life depended on it. And we were 12 years old. We were doing that, because it was different times.
Right. Yeah, that's a point.
However, if I could instill in him the idea that he could go program a robot to build that wall and make it techie and make it cool, I've now grabbed a young, vibrant young man that could, deliver change in the construction space by developing the next thing that will be smarter. So when you look at AI, digital twins, all the technology that's coming on, that in a lot of other industries, especially manufacturing, has been around a long time. The construction industry is going towards how do we do things off-site, how do we do things in a controlled environment, and then bring it to a site and do it. However, as far as we're going to take that pendulum, there's still going to be the how do we get those hard, tangible things to a site erected and put together in proper fashion. So there's still some connectivity to do there. But again, going back to what I was talking about with the virtual son of mine, if you want to call it that, those are the things that are in the future. And we should embrace that. I'll give a shout out to a local, Katerra. A lot of people know who Katerra is. They're building downtown Phoenix, and they're backed by billions of dollars of private equity money and things like that. What they're doing to change the industry is pivotal. We need them to pierce that veil, if you will, to break down barriers and paradigms of how this is going together. And I think you're going to see a lot of offshoots and ancillary things come on board that we desperately need as an industry to get the pricing back in check for the consumer and take away all the uncertainties. My joke, and I'll throw this out there to all the audience, is my dream is to have a day where you, Sean, could go on our website and order everything, and it'll basically print out a price to you right then and there. In other words, give you a catalog.
Interesting. I like that.
Why
as
not?
The consumer.
Now, my industry, again, my fraternal order would go, oh, don't do that. You're giving away all the secrets. Well, guess what? There are no secrets anymore. Data is free. Information is free, when that used to be the holy grail that we all held.
Yes.
Okay, now the difference is if I charge $5 for that piece of concrete or that cubic, whatever, let's just call it a piece of steel. The next guy charges $6 or $7. The delta between all those is getting narrower and narrower. In other words, what we call the hard costs in construction. Whether I'm buying it, Kitchell's buying it, Sunt's buying it, Wilming's buying it, any of the people in our peer group, that's irrelevant anymore. It's what we call the soft costs. How much effort and time is going into the design, the fiduciary oversight of all those things. It's all those little ancillary things, again, that are contributing to that bottom line for you, the consumer.
Yes.
So again, if we can do better as a society and a group in that industry to change that and educate our consumers to where they can then shop for it in a meaningful and easily understandable fashion, I think we've hit the holy grail of offering a whole new realm of deliverables in the construction space.
That, to me, from where I'm sitting, sounds amazing. I love that. I love that you're putting that out there, and I love that vision. Now, I want you to give, you have so much experience. What would you tell somebody new that is, they know they want to do some realm of construction? What would you tell them if they're just getting into the industry? What pieces of advice would you give to them?
Just pursue it and then fail forward. I see, and I say this tongue in cheek because I didn't fail forward as well as I would have liked to when I was younger, but yet I still was willing to take risks that I don't think my peer group was. And consequently, that's why we're sitting here today.
Yes.
However, I see this fear of failure just suffocating a lot of talented people.
That's a good way to put it.
I think, again, I go back to information, education, all the tools that you need to be successful are there.
Yes.
So is it laziness? Is it whatever? And that's not I'm not being derogatory towards this whole generational thing. I think it's quite the contrary. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. I think some of these kids are brilliant, and that whole, the generation this and generation that, they're not as hungry as we were. That's a bunch of garbage. Nothing has changed. We're just getting older, okay? However, just those tools, again, are free and accessible. Now it's just cross that barrier, take the risk, and go. And capital is so easy to get now compared to when it was before.
Yeah.
And just surround yourself with other smart people.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to be the dumbest one in the room.
That is such good advice. It's interesting you say that because as I was driving here, the phrase, you are who the top 5 people you surround yourself with kept popping in my mind. I was like, I wonder why that's popping in my mind right now because of what you just said, where that is really true. If you are, quote unquote, the dumbest person in the room.
Or conversely, the smartest.
Yeah, but you're going to rise up, right? Whereas if you're the smartest, where are you going to go? So I really think that's great advice,
Every time, again, a personal testimonial to that is when I feel like I've had all the answers in that room, I realize after that meeting, that wasn't an effective meeting, at least for me interpersonally.
Good point. Good point.
Where if I walk out of a meeting going, wow, that lady or that man, they impressed me. You know what I usually do? I go and research, find out what did they do. Not so much what did they do, but the how and the why.
Yes.
Because then it gave me tools to go read more, study more, learn more, ask more questions, all those kind of things. I'm lucky that I'm in an industry where every day there's a new technology on our job sites where I can go talk to a plumber, an HVAC guy, and go, hey, I haven't seen that before. How does that work? Why? How? Oh, and what does that cost? Oh, that next meeting then when I'm with an owner, I now know something that gives them a better IRR or ROI back to what they're investing with us in. So it's just back to your question is the advice of don't fear failure. I think that's the biggest thing I see is there's so many resources to be a better business person than we ever had going into it when we were entrepreneurs starting off. You know what I mean? But the internet, it's gargantuan. If you can't find something there, I'm sorry, you just got to wake up. But we didn't have all those,
totally right.
We had encyclopedias. Give me a break.
Yeah, we had to go check things out.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to add the library is still such an amazing resource. Like kids can take free coding classes, how to build like 3D stuff from 3D printers. Like there's some cool free, so there's even more resources available. So I like that you're going down that road. And I don't know where this time goes, but I do have at least one or two more questions that I want to ask you. So the other thing that is coming into my mind that I feel is really important to address is, you've got this really nice mix of having this expertise in construction, but then to be the leader and the manager, you've got this really amazing skill of communicating with people and bringing people together and really managing a project. So if somebody does have they're going into construction because they have a specific skill they're good at, but they do want to eventually manage. How do they start to hone those managerial leadership skills?
It's a great question. I look back, I'll never forget this, to give a little insight. I was in my 20s. I was given a lot of responsibility. I was working for a multinational company, and I was at a board table about this size, and I realized I couldn't answer finance questions. I knew all the construction, well, I didn't know all, but I knew most of the construction questions. But that's when I got up and I went and signed up for my MBA that night.
Very nice.
I didn't care about the MBA for the degree. I wanted to understand the why and the how and learn finance and all the things. And then, for the record, I never finished. I took courses but never finished. But I got out of the MBA what I wanted, and that was learning how to learn again. And again, taking all those tools and applying it to beyond construction. So that's the answer is that kind of thing. If you want to be smarter and you want to be better after a situation, usually it's a transaction, then go do it. Take the leap of faith, find the people that can help you or the knowledge or the tools that can help you, and then go. I can't think of all the different times I've sat around a CPA or a lawyer or an engineer or an architect where I've learned from them, and then you can then, again, transcend or effectuate that change into a more holistic and global environment the next time you're in a meeting. So I rarely answer questions about construction anymore when I'm dealing with these front-end client questions or when we're looking at these opportunities of connecting the dots.
Yes.
It typically is more business-related, HR-related, all the funky things that you would never go to school for that you just learn by doing.
Yes.
And you have to just take that leap of faith, do, learn, and fail.
Yeah.
But I'd rather take 1 million micro failures than one macro one. And the one macro one will only happen if you have this just suffocating fear of not doing anything. So that's my advice. And
my big takeaway that's just motivating me to my core is just what you're saying, just the word go. It's like learn, but then go, like do something. That is incredibly inspiring and motivating, and I thank you for sharing that with me and everyone listening. How can people get a hold of you?
The easiest way is at our website, and then you can get my cell phone and anything on there. But the unique spelling that we have is it's jj@bleuwave.com, or bleuwave.com is our website. but it's BLEUWAVE, BLEUWAVE, which is a whole nother story. But
for the next one.
Yeah, the next one. But anyway, thank you for having me, and love to hear other entrepreneurial stories. So keep up with your guests, because it's inspiring, and it's nice to see that we can double down, triple down, and grow this exponentially.
Thank you, JJ. I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your valuable time. And please go ahead and like and subscribe to Exposing Entrepreneur Secrets. Share it with others, and we'll see you here next time. Thank you.